we knew that there was some big initiatives, and the budgets that you had managed, it was like with alliance partners, right? It was like partners like Intel or AMD or Nvidia. So when you first joined Lenovo, I know we had done some static content, ebooks and infographics.
Right.
But what caused you the kind of light bulb moment of like, we need to move more towards video?
I mean, it's quite obvious, right? The way people consume information now is on their phone. Maybe you're scrolling, you're on your laptop or whatever, and you're free 5 or 10 minutes you might have a day, and you're catching very short snippets of video. You're not reading a white paper, you're not reading an ebook. We knew that video was the future, right? But talking to you again and brainstorming with you and figuring out what can we do again that's innovative and disruptive. Of course, you had the answer again, and it was video. And it's not just video, it's how do you distribute that video? What do you do with it once you have it? And you guys had the answer. Within 30 days, we had over 1,600 leads. 1,600 within 30 days. People watched every one of them. Like our watch times were incredible. People signed up for more. It resonated.
Was there anything unexpected? Was it the good, the bad, the ugly?
What I find absolutely amazing with AI is the fact we can create these videos, we can have them translated, and the AI actually makes it look like it's the real person talking in that language.
What advice do you have for that other Steve out there, right, who's thinking of doing this but doesn't quite know how to do it today?
The gated stuff is a bit outdated. It's time to just ungate everything.
Welcome to another episode of the Cyberwhyze Off-Script podcast, where we talk to marketing and sales leaders and founders at cybersecurity, AI, deep tech, enterprise technology companies to talk about the intersection of sales and marketing and what we're doing to innovate in video to help grow brands, create demand, and really enable sales team. And we have a really special guest today, a good friend, and also someone I've been working with for almost a decade now, across several companies I've worked at, as well as yourself. We have Steve Soderberg with us, currently a marketing manager at Lenovo, with a vast experience of marketing. And our experience goes back from all of the companies that you've worked across, with a large concentration in them being in security companies. And from the ones that I could recall off the top of my head was Comstor, who is now recently, not too long ago, acquired by TD SYNNEX, right?
Correct.
One of Cisco's largest distributors at the time when we were working together. And then you've moved to companies like Security Scorecard, Webroot, which was a company within OpenText,
Yep.
And then had even more experience now that you've landed at Lenovo, right? Managed several projects already, some pretty big initiatives that have been very disruptive. But I think throughout the course of us working together, and I'll let you elaborate on it, you've always been a front runner and an innovator at all these companies you've worked on. And you've had this experience from event marketing to product marketing, to digital marketing now and video marketing. And I think our audience is in for a pretty good surprise today, just kind of following the projects that you've worked on throughout your career. So
Sure.
that was my intro for what I wanted to share with you initially. Is there anything else that we might want to add for the conversation today?
No, I don't think so, Lano. I'd really like to touch on the relationship that we've had, kind of growing with each other throughout my career and your career, the different businesses I've worked for, and how we've gone from corporation to corporation, and we've been with each other along the way, which has built a wonderful relationship.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you had gone to school for marketing, if it was something that you were focused on. I know you'd done a lot of stuff in the event space prior. Tell us a little bit about where you started, just I guess in your career, and how it led to where you're at today in Lenovo.
Sure. So no official schooling for marketing, Alano, because marketing was kind of a passion of mine since, sitting in front of the TV as a kid, having a bowl of cereal, watching cartoons on Saturday mornings, watching these commercials that would, have the catchy jingles or something, right? So I always wanted to get into that, right? So the more I got into my career was, very sales, very salesy. Started out as inside sales guy at Comstor. moved to very specific sales with Cisco SmartNet. Did that for quite a while and moved on to a startup, Brainstorm Networks, where I was a director of sales there, and then started my own company managing SmartNet contracts for Hewlett Packard. That was very successful for quite a while until Hewlett Packard and Cisco kind of decided not to play nice with each other, right? They wanted to be in their own sandbox. From there, I just decided, sales wasn't my thing anymore. And I wanted to get back to what, really drove interest within me, back to that Saturday morning stuff, right? Right, back to, those catchy jingles and stuff. So I had an opportunity to, my first marketing opportunity with Comstor was, we had this partner progression program called Edge, where I had a pretty healthy budget to bring this program to life. And that's where I met you, right? I was looking for something very innovative, disruptive within, something that no one's done, right? And I was looking for some touch screens and something pretty cool that I could use in a trade show booth, and called you up. And like, from the first 5 minutes we were on the call, I was like, yeah, I know I'm working with this guy.
I remember it too. I think he even wanted a demo software that we had built specifically for like a touchscreen application to learn more about it. And at the time it was really unrefined, but this concept of doing a roadshow, meeting channel partners, which is what Comstor built all their programs around supporting, in central cities, bringing them together. Was like a 40 by 40 booth. It was a pretty big
It was
booth.
huge.
Yeah. And in it, you had touchscreens where you could learn about products, services, hardware. We had some AR, VR technology in there. And it was probably a showcase of what interactive technology could do a decade ago that people still haven't even fully tapped into yet.
Exactly.
But where's that program at today? Is Edge still around?
Edge is still around. It's very successful, as a matter of fact. It helped Comstor TD Synnex win Cisco Distributor of the Year. Actually, the year after I left, they had won. And Edge had pretty much everything to do with that. The program had become so successful. And not only that, it led to road shows, right? So we had this great booth, and we would take it places. People would come and interact with everything. It led to probably 4 or 5x of quality leads over just a normal trade show, right? And then that was so successful, we decided to kind of break it down, shorten it up a little bit, and then do road shows. Right, we did well over 30 road shows in 1 year, which generated $30 million in net new revenue for Comstor. And using that same technology, right? That same disruptive, no one's doing this type of technology. Very successful. And then, Alano, from there, where'd we go?
Oh, man.
We moved on to...
I think the next company we worked at together was when you was it Security Scorecard first, or was it WebRoot?
No, it was WebRoot.
Yeah.
And from there, so WebRoot, we did a lot of trade shows, right? Again, most of our leads came from trade shows. Depending on, what as a CMO might consider successful trade shows, they're looking for booth scans, right? And as marketers, we all know booth scans aren't it, right? We're looking for qualified leads. And then that was the time when COVID hit. So we lost the ability to do these trade shows, right? We couldn't be in person anymore. So you and I sat down, brainstormed like we always do, and decided, what can we do, right? If we get 90% of our leads from trade shows, we can't do trade shows. Now what?
Yep.
Right. And we came up with the virtual booth.
Yep. The virtual booth was a better version of what everyone unfortunately had experienced, of those virtual trade shows that people would try to recreate, where someone just leave their computer logged in and move their mouse like once every hour and say they
Exactly.
attended. Those did not drive net new revenue, right? And I think we went and, I mean, when we built this interactive booth, a virtual booth, right? We had a booth attendant that was there in the virtual booth. Someone could walk through a booth and navigate and go through a set of kind of pre-qualifying questions to point them in a general direction of a hardware or a solution that they are looking for.
Yeah.
And it was,
And this was before AI, right?
Yep.
So we actually had to hire an actress
yep.
and film her,
Yep.
and then
She was like
you
the
guys
Siri of the
did
booth.
your magic and
Green
you know,
screen,
had-
video magic, and we use, React, to be able to develop it. And it was just short of the AI revolution, right? Where we would have probably tried to leverage AI at the time if it was open source
yeah, of
and
course.
available. But it allowed someone to come through and explore just as if they were in a booth. But I almost think it was better because it wasn't salesy. You didn't have to worry about getting badge scanned there, right?
Right.
And that drove a ton of web visitors because you guys hosted it on your website, and you guys even had webinars packaged up in there that were pre-recorded with thought leaders and SMEs,
Exactly.
kind of like the content we're shooting here, right? Where people could dive deep into that content. And it just became a repository, almost like a microsite of its own.
Exactly. And it was more of a choose your own adventure, right? Where they can answer a few questions and we could actually then provide a solution for them. Again, very groundbreaking stuff, right?
Yeah.
Exactly what you and I tend to do
Yeah.
everywhere I go.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's a big thing to people being willing to take risk and being more on the innovator, early adopter phase of technology. Just saying, and we've heard it from some of the other CMOs that we work with, we just want to do something different, right?
Right.
And it doesn't mean choose something different that's going to piss everybody off. It means taking a bold step forward and moving where technology is headed. And that's like now as you land on the new role that you have at Lenovo, a massive company, which is doing a lot of innovative stuff, is also probably, layered with old ways of doing things. Like every company, even the most innovative companies have red tape, bureaucracy, and just like old behaviors from, leadership who've seen success with just doing blogs and ebooks and white papers before.
Right.
But before we get into the Lenovo stuff, I was curious, like, was there just a natural interest in security that kind of kept you in that space? Was it because you had so much success with Cisco and Comstor that kind of propelled you into more security companies like Security Scorecard too?
Well, I mean, honestly, it was just the fact that security was such a hot topic, right? I mean, you had to have it. There was so many, people getting hacked and ransom and so many things happening at that time where it's like, I I need to get in, kind of not the ground level, but get in at with the early adopters of this and really learn it, try and figure out what the heck's going on, and see how I could help. Right? See if I can get the word out, tell the story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we did a mix across all the brands that you worked with in the past, all the way dating back to Comstor, doing stuff with Cisco. Video has always been there. We've done it at least, a dozen something times with videos, but it wasn't until you'd moved to Lenovo where you were like, it's pretty clear and present that video is something that is much more sticky. It's what people want. But we didn't really know what we were getting into initially. We knew that there were some big initiatives. And the budgets that you had managed, it was like with alliance partners, right? It was like partners like Intel or AMD or Nvidia. Talk a little bit about how you were looking at engaging us initially. So when you first joined Lenovo, I know we had done some static content, ebooks and infographics.
Right, right.
But what caused you the kind of light bulb moment of like, we need to move more towards video, even though we're at a company where they don't release videos at the volume we should be? What kind of gave you that confidence that you should move in that direction and take Lenovo there?
Sure. Well, I mean, it's quite obvious, right? The way people consume information now is on their phone. Maybe you're scrolling, you're on your laptop or whatever, and you're free 5 or 10 minutes you might have a day. And you're catching very short snippets of video. You're not reading a white paper. You're not reading an ebook. If you're searching for a new couch, it's not like you're, reading the spec sheet on that, right? You're watching quick video of how a family looks comfortable on it, right? So we knew that video was the future, right? But talking to you again and brainstorming with you and figuring out what can we do again that's innovative and disruptive. And you, of course, you had the answer again, and it was video. And it's not just video; it's how do you distribute that video? What do you do with it once you have it? And you guys had the answer.
Yeah.
And from that, we developed a content strategy, that we got approval from Intel on, and we did an Intel Go Big marketing project. And, from there, it's like 75 videos,
50 pieces of static content.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah. It was an inordinate amount of content in such a short period of time. Where you were like, are you sure you could produce that much? And I was like, we're built for high capacity. We talked
we have 9 months, buddy. Can you do it?
Yep. And it's like, because that doesn't seem possible. And it wasn't just because you doubted our ability to support that on the production side and all that other stuff. I think it was also like, can we get approvals internally?
Well, yeah. And that was a huge roadblock.
Brand and compliance.
Brand, alliance compliance.
Yeah.
Right. And just stakeholders, like, and then trying to get all the information we need from, product engineers. Are we telling the right story? There wasn't a lot of background for ThinkEdge, the solution that we were selling. So we had to do a lot of deep dive.
Oh, I remember.
A lot of work, right? And so it's not like we had all the information we needed to just go in and start scripting. Right. Or to go in and create these one-pagers, to create these product flyers or anything like that. So, we had to work hard to get all that done. And then, next thing you know, we're down to 6 months.
Yeah.
Right. And we've only got some static content made. So, I mean, from there, it was a sprint.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think when we first jumped in, it was like, okay, either we're going to do a series of workshops. We're going to get sales, product marketing aligned, and we're going to put together value props and be able to develop all of the frameworks you need to develop good scripts, good content topics. Or you guys can start just lobbing over the fence some of the good collateral you've already created, internal seller decks, battle cards, right? And we were able to kind of crowdsource a lot of your existing content, have a few workshops, right, with SMEs, and then develop, for, lack of better terms, the personas that we would be targeting, value props, some messaging that would then tee up the specific topics, and then the scripts that we would write for the things that were scripted. Not as much unscripted content initially. More of it was more planned out, because obviously you want to control the narrative when you had a company of this size, even though there is a time and a place for unscripted content. And then the SMEs had the benefit of being able to just review the scripts before they came on to read them. And I think in some cases we actually went out to Rally you guys were recording the content in Rally, sending it back over to us to go and produce.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah. Which it seemed to work.
Yeah.
But I'd much rather have you guys live on site, like at NRF or Tech World.
Tech World is a really fun event. Just seeing a company that was as big as Lenovo is, where you have like even your own concert at the event for your own staff, but having a series of booths that represent the different verticals, the different technologies you guys were targeting in the retail sector, manufacturing, healthcare, education.
Right.
Like you guys have an answer for every vertical and a different type of technology.
And Alana, wasn't it cool how, like, when we were on site going around, we had, our ThinkEdge people that we wanted to get on film. But as we're going around, everyone's seeing what we're doing. And how many other product members were like, hey, can you film us? Like, we'd love to get in on that.
Oh yeah, totally. Right? People want their time to shine, right? And they could see their peers like, oh, he gets to talk about the water cooling that's happening with this server rack. I want to talk about this. I think they had this like amphibious robot dog,
right? The robot dog.
Yep, walking over the steps, which was really cool.
It was cool.
And it's like, these are these internal experts that we talk about helping amplify. Like all of the genius is within the organization. It's just not as obvious to a lot of companies that them, allowing your experts to get on camera to share it is probably one of the most credible ways of, building trust and authority. Is you're not then asking the SME to meet with the copywriter to write an ebook that gets watered down, that has to go through QC. You're getting them on camera if they're comfortable with it. And in many cases, people would do the first video or two a little nervously, and then they would just coming back for more. They were excited to get on video. And then we created like video champions where people started selling it internally, saying, you have to do this. Like it really works.
It really works.
Yeah.
And through the Intel project, we have the proof that it works, right? We did, we did some paid advertising, content syndication. We went through BrightTalk, created a page on BrightTalk and put all of this content on there. And the whole purpose of the Intel project, awareness, right? We found that there was not a lot of people knew that ThinkEdge or that Lenovo actually offered an edge product, right? So we had to do this awareness program. Well, we created all these great videos. We knew what we were going to do with them. We did this, and it was highly successful. Like you just...
How many leads did you say that there was generated in the first like 60 to 90 days?
I would say within 30 days, we had over 1,600 leads.
Yep.
1,600.
And it was...
within 30 days.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people may say, well, maybe that's because Lenovo has such a big brand. Well, it's not like we were just marketing technology that everyone inherently knew. This was stuff in the edge, computing realm, right, with ThinkEdge, that was playing a little bit of catch up in the space. You know what I mean? To be quite honest. And Lenovo is planting its flag in edge computing with ThinkEdge. And so the market was getting educated from the Lenovo perspective. And in this case, it was in BrightTalk, right? Where usually people are going there to find webinars.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
And we said, let's try something different.
Short form
Video.
Yeah.
Let's give them little tidbits of education. And it worked. BrightTalk's actually turning this into a case study for them because we flipped the script. People go to BrightTalk to watch webinars. So they're already going to give 20 to 30 minutes of their day to just where they're going. We provided, I think we had about, within the first 30 days, we had maybe 20 videos uploaded. And I mean, people watched every one of them. Like our watch times were incredible. People signed up for more. It resonated.
Yeah.
And they didn't have to sit there and watch, voice over a PowerPoint or something.
Yeah.
Right. So it really resonated with the crowd, and we super successful.
Yeah.
And then utilizing LinkedIn, right? We posted them on LinkedIn and had even more success. It was just tremendous.
I remember looking at some of the stuff that we post on YouTube as well too. Right? We
YouTube.
do this spotlight video. These were like 5 to 7 minutes long, very informational driven. And then also, they're ungated. So it's like, and it's the value you would get in an ebook, but in a much more digestible and easy to kind of retain, right? 95% of what you see, you tend to retain.
Right.
But from what you read, it's a lot less. And people were engaging, likes, comments, reshares. And there was just a lot more activity happening on social when this video got in there. It wasn't just exclusive to BrightTalk, right? It was omnipresent. And I think some of the videos too are probably going up on the .com, right? On certain landing pages as well, if it's like some of the explainer style videos.
Correct. Yeah. And we're doing a big .com revamp. Stay tuned for that. And we'll actually have a lot of these videos online. A lot more videos that we'll be creating with Cyberwhyze will go on there.
Which we get excited about because we're like, if someone builds a video resource page for all the videos we're creating, it's, it's good real estate for us to create more content if you want to keep it, fresh and up to date.
It has to be fresh.
Yeah, absolutely. Now,
you brought up a point about ungated content. I think that's very important in today's world of self-education. People are educating themselves before they buy. There's no need to gate content. right? Give them what they need, create that relationship, create that trust, and then just have a conversation. Why? I mean, the gated stuff is a bit outdated.
Mhm.
It's time to just ungate everything.
It's asking for a lot, and it doesn't help. I mean, AI is great and all that it does to help us, because we definitely leverage it as much as we can. But what it's done in terms of all of the constant knocking on the door from a sales perspective. If you download an ebook, now they got a pixel on you, right? Or they're following up. You have some kind of AI agent hammering you every day. Now you got to create a new spam folder and another new spam folder. Like, I just
To
want
offer
an
one
ebook.
ebook. Yeah, I just wanted to learn a little bit more, right? Just a
Yeah.
little bit.
Yeah. I think we're going to vow that whenever we do have an ebook resource on our own website, it's ungated. It's going to read like a blog with like clickable indexes.
Which it should be,
Yep.
right? I understand that, our CMOs are looking for these MQLs, right? And a gated piece of content is great for that. But if you think about it, marketing influences all sales. So let's just give our potentials what they need to educate themselves, and they'll come, right?
Absolutely.
They'll come. And I mean, we can create leads in other ways. It doesn't have to be gated.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of people do spend most of their buyer journey in research mode, right? In the security
Exactly.
space alone, I think it's like 82% of the entire buyer journey happens before they ever first reach out, which is this huge missed opportunity, which a lot of the campaign focus with the Lenovo Intel Go Big project was on top of funnel, right? It's like, hey, people spend a lot of money on bottom of funnel. Why aren't they investing it on top of funnel? And yeah, you could invest in the content itself, but you could also invest in distribution. People don't realize like it is relatively easy to boost content on LinkedIn at like the first layer. Obviously, there's like more sophisticated retargeting and off-platform retargeting you can do,
Sure.
but top of funnel is more of a blue ocean than the bottom of funnel. Bottom of funnel is a red ocean where you have these very expensive Google keywords and ads that you're going to have to run to capture someone who's ready to buy today. And you're fighting against all of the other vendors they've already vetted out earlier in the buyer journey.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's, with all the videos that we created, we casted such a large net, right? It with the awareness program that we had going, it didn't have to be super targeted, right? Of course, we want to target people who are interested in edge computing, edge AI, but it didn't have to be, right? We're trying to let the world know that we have this solution, because no one knew, right?
Yeah.
So, and we did that,
Yeah.
pretty successly.
And I think people, we heard a few people this week kind of mention that we had come by the house over here during our CKO, say like, everyone's aware of Lenovo, but we didn't realize they were on our heels for what we're doing. Lenovo's launching some pretty major initiatives. And it was really impressive when we went to Tech World to see Jensen Huang there in person from Nvidia, to see, Zuckerberg, chime in on the Jumbotron and his white t-shirt and gold chain. Yeah, looking all fresh. His PR person happy. He's looking cool. And just see all of that come together and Lenovo be the belle of the ball, like at the center of a lot of those, strategic partnerships that you guys have going on. I guess, with everything that's happening now with what we've done with video, let's introduce now where you see things going with AI, right? We've started to slowly introduce what AI could do with video for you. I'm curious if there's anything that you thought was particularly cool, what you've seen us be able to do with AI, and things stand out yet?
Yeah, for sure. So with my new role with digital marketing, right? And we're responsible for creating content for our geos. What I find just absolutely amazing with GI, what I find absolutely amazing with AI is the fact we can create these videos, we can have them translated, and the AI actually makes it look like it's the real person talking in that language. It's it's not like you're listening to some old kung fu movie
where the voice and yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that, because the more content that we can give to our geos that's already translated, the easier we make it for them, the more they're going to use it.
Totally.
I mean, hands down, right? Because we could create hundreds of just amazing content, hundreds of pieces of it, give it to our geos, and then like, I have to pay to have it translated. So
we have to reshoot the same video in 5 different geographies and 5 different languages.
yeah,
Versus you get that first video recorded with like, and you create an avatar, which we did with one of the, with one of the team members. You can then have the video created in Portuguese, Mandarin, Vietnamese, with the click of the
German.
button.
Yeah, I mean,
Add motion graphics with the native language, and the video is just super powerful, right? You could go and then distribute it in LinkedIn to specific geographies and just get way more coverage.
yeah. I mean that right there is what I'm most excited about with AI, and I'm excited to coach the rest of our marketing team at Lenovo on how we could actually do this and how easy it's going to be, especially working with you, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Which is telling me like as we scale, I mean, we have some pretty big goals. We're not just trying to work with mom and pops and startups. Working with some pretty massive brands requires pretty massive buy-in, right? Like we can have a ton of success with one business unit at Lenovo, but you guys have several business units. You have global initiatives. And like I said, yeah, I can't expect for you to go and preach the good word of video to everybody. And I can't expect for
but I
everyone.
do.
Yeah, I mean, I love how you've continued to be a champion internally at Lenovo, sometimes introducing us to new alliance partners, right? We've now worked with Intel on the major Go Big project, also with Nvidia, now with AMD, things are rolling out. But as we scale our agency, we realize we're not going to always be fortunate enough to find Steven Soderberg, right, to come in and
The internal sales guy.
yeah, be able to just be a champion, which I think a lot of people listening to the podcast, especially on the sales side, will probably appreciate understanding what that means to have a champion internally. If you enable your champion, you can sell through them, right? They may not want you to get in front of their boss, right? Because in part, you're kind of doing their job, but they want to be able to take ownership of what you're doing, manage the agency relationship. And so we want to be able to enable more champions, right? We also want to be able to help you get people at new business units and the rest of the organization on board more.
Help to develop other champions.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Exactly. And the best way for us to do that is usually through just interactive workshops, right? Where we can create an actual use case of how your enterprise organization with your given resources, maybe you have 1 or 2 in-house video people at your actual HQ, and they could do, a little bit of work, maybe not all the post-production and distribution. Maybe we can get some of your existing content writers who are realizing like, hey, AI is taking over some of the blog writing, or this isn't working on the static content. We can help restructure teams in many ways and add new skill sets so they could be better aligned with the future of video marketing. And we had to do that in some part, right? I think you learned a lot of things about how video is scripted, hooks are created along the way.
And how to distribute the video. Like you create all this great content, but what are you going to do with it, right? So learning how, like best practices on what to do with this content, right? And I think a lot of marketers might need not necessarily a refresh, but just some education on that, right? Because if we're moving towards a video first approach like that, not all marketers might not know what to do with it, right? So I think like workshops, any sort of training things that you can provide for marketers, for PMs, SMEs, I mean, it can do nothing but help. Right.
Yeah. Just curious, like if there is another Steven Soderberg out there at a larger enterprise organization, whether it was in, enterprise tech
there is no other.
Okay, you're the one and only. But if there's a close second out there who is listening to this conversation is like, I hear what that guy is saying. We've tried this static content stuff. Like there's got to still be a way to generate leads. And we're realizing it's through actual, monitoring and tracking social engagement,
Right.
which are social cues that do generate a soft lead if followed up with marketing and sales appropriately.
Right.
But they're wondering like, how can we launch a video initiative or organization where a lot of people are a little hesitant to do it, or they're just doing product videos? What advice do you have for that other Steve out there, right, who's thinking of doing this, but doesn't quite know how to do it today?
Yeah. Well, contact Cyberwhyze, right?
Shameless plug.
Yes, exactly. Uh, I think my advice would be uh, do your research, figure out how your audience is consuming information, and I'd be 99% positive that they're doing it through video, right? So be open to it. Be open to trying to do something new. I'm sure you're creating video here and there, right? But how are you using it? What type of video is it? Um, Explore the actual options of utilizing your social network um, for these short form videos. I mean, you'd be so surprised by the actual success of doing something like this, and just go for it. Freaking go for it. You know, how far are you getting with your static content,
Yeah.
right? A lot of marketers have to check these boxes constantly. Like, am I creating the white paper? Am I creating the infographic? All great content, right? But let's call that the supporting cast of your videos. Especially if you're trying to do an awareness campaign like we did with Intel, there's no better way, because this is the way people are consuming information right now.
Absolutely.
So it's just facts.
I
It's science.
well, what I love that you did too is like you were realizing, like, even though you and I are at an offsite here, you're here joining Cyberwhyze this week as a special guest of our own content kickoff, right, in Arizona. Having a dedicated offsite isn't usually the first step when a company is just thinking of doing video, like we're talking about, but they do attend trade shows. They do have SKOs. They have their own events.
Mhm.
What did you think about how it went down, whether it was the National Retail Federation or Lenovo Tech World, where we were pretty much asking experts who are in motion at these events to take a second to get on video? Was there anything unexpected? Was it good, the bad, the ugly,
Well,
all of that?
I'll tell you what was unexpected is how receptive these people were to this thought process, right? To this particular strategy. All these people that are so passionate about what they know, they want to get the word out. They love this platform, Alano. Like at NRF, we saw some of the just leading experts at Nvidia, at Intel, and even with Lenovo, that were just so giddy and happy to tell their story.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I thought that was amazing. Um, some of the bad, I don't know, man. Traveling to New York when it was
Last minute?
freezing,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, last minute. That was kind of bad, but I mean, honestly, I don't think there was much bad behind that. Because just the content, the amount of content that we got from just one trade show, where all your experts are anyway, get them to spend 15, 20 minutes, and you can capture months worth of content, but literally months.
Yeah. Yeah. I think one thing that we've tried to deliver on with our enterprise clients and specifically with Lenovo is this kind of like mythical creature or three-headed dragon that rarely comes together, where you can produce something that is high quality, you can do it at a quick turnaround, and you could do it affordably. And we're not trying to undercut other agencies working with enterprise organizations. We're just not overproducing videos. So most companies would maybe get 1 to 2 videos per quarter. We could deliver 20 to 40 per quarter.
Exactly.
And those can actually have a material impact on pipeline, a measurable and trackable one. And knowing that, yeah, you could go get a red camera and spend $250,000 on a video or two, or you could shoot with some nice cinema cameras like we do that are Netflix approved, FX30 or FX3 cameras, and you're going to get the job done still and create content that is still digestible. Because at the end of the day, you upload a video on LinkedIn, it's going to get downscaled to 1080 anyways, right?
Right. And it's not like, we need Steven Spielberg directing these videos.
Just
Right?
Steven
Is it-
Soderberg.
Yeah, exactly. This is what I do in my spare time. Uh, these people are going to consume the video either way, whether it was on your iPhone or from one of these wonderful cameras that you have. They're going to watch it, especially if it's meaningful and especially if it's coming directly from a thought leader. It resonates.
Absolutely. You know what? I think, irregardless of where you take your career, you just being an innovator in general and having essentially a renewed mindset with whatever's coming, down the way or a new trend that pops up. You have not been anchored to what worked for you for 5 years ago or 10 years and been so married to that. You have to keep running the playbook. You keep reinventing yourself along each stage of the career. And I really admire that. And I hope I could look back on my career and say that I continue to do that myself.
But and you help inspire that too, though, right? Right.
Yeah.
I mean, we've come a long way.
Yeah.
This past
And it's always
10,
easy.
11
You never, we never get on each other's nerves as we work. What I'm getting at though is I think you can be a really great mentor to a lot of the people that are even listening to this podcast. So as we wrap up here, I wanted to give people the opportunity to reach out to you if they had any questions.
Please do.
I know you like mentoring younger marketers and people
Absolutely.
aspiring in the space. What final advice do you have for people who may represent the Steve Soderberg from 20 years ago, just getting into the game or so? And then where can they reach out to you if they want to learn more about what you're doing?
Yeah. Biggest advice I could give as a marketer is obviously don't be afraid to fail. It's going to happen. And make sure you learn from that failure, and don't be discouraged from it. Learn from it and move on and do better, right? There's a lot of times you might make sure that you're getting the advice you need from the right people. Myself, I'd love to help out. And it's always fun to spend other people's money. That's what you get to do as a marketer. And be innovative, be disruptive. I know the be disruptive might be a little cliche and all that, but it's true. And it's a lot of fun to do that. If you want to reach out, you can find me on LinkedIn. It's Steven Soderberg. I'd probably pop up right at the top of the list there.
Yep. Nice little black and white headshot with a colorful background. And yeah, thank you for staying tuned. This, like I said, this was a very special guest. This conversation, I think, represents kind of the pinnacle of what we're trying to do, which is take larger enterprises that have a lot of potential to take what's on the inside of the organization and bring it to the outside. There's so many brilliant experts at Lenovo and all the alliance partners you guys work with. It's been an absolute honor to have you on. I think this is long overdue after a decade of working together.
Yeah.
We do our first podcast together.
Here we are in beautiful Scottsdale, Arizona.
Awesome. It's been a pleasure.
Right on. Thank you, Ilana.